long-term vision to do that. So in terms of some of the numbers, and one thing I want to point out here with regards to jobs, we're very proud that during COVID, we were deemed an essential service, and we kept more than 1,000 people on the job. I know many of those folks live in your community. Many of those folks came and stayed in your community, and they currently are staying here. I don't know where the gentleman was who said he was from the local hotel beforehand, but they're staying here. Some of them are coming from out of state, or we have specific trade specialties that they'll come down to work on something, and so they're here in your community. They're spending money in your community, and then we have those within your community who are working on the project as well. Overall, throughout the railroad construction, there's 10,000 plus jobs annually throughout that. And just to give you an idea, a lot of the work that we're doing, for example, with our rail ties out of Fort Pierce, that's a whole area that we've now been producing those from, and we basically created a factory that's producing those. We order our trains from Siemens Rolling Stock out of Sacramento, California, and they have built an entire facility that then builds our trains as well as now other trains that they're getting orders for. So, throughout the country, but specifically here in Florida as well, there have been industry that has built up to support the need in order to build this extension to Orlando. So when we talk about gas prices, and we all know that those are continuing to go up, to give you an idea, this is an interesting chart here, and I'm sorry the numbers are kind of small, but in terms of gasoline that's used for, let's say, 500 people traveling on a Brightline train, takes 470 gallons of gas to transport those 500 people. If those same 500 people were to travel by plane, it would be more than 1,300 gallons, and by car, it would be more than twice that at over 3,000 gallons. So from a sustainability standpoint, we're very proud of what we are accomplishing and will continue to accomplish in terms of getting cars off of the road, but also providing everyone with another form of transportation that is not only more efficient, but is good for the environment as well. Our trains here will be biodiesel. That is, don't ask me to go into all the details on the chemical. That was not my forte in school, but it is more environmentally friendly than basic diesel, and as a result, the trains are quiet, they're smooth, they're sleek, and they produce less emissions. So these are our stations. You saw them in the video. We have Orlando International, which is located just south of the Terminals A and B. This is the new Terminal C South Terminal that will open later this year. Our station is right inside. And then we have Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Boca, Aventura, and West Palm Beach. And certainly, when we talk about what is going to be the impact here in Palm Bay and in Brevard County, I mean, we can talk about the job production that we are going to have as a result of the work that's going to be taking place. The removing vehicles from the road that are congesting the roadways. So the benefits are plentiful, certainly. So for the Orlando Extension project, for this construction project, we're about 72% complete. Again, going back to those jobs, almost 5 million man hours have been worked to date, and we have over 1,300 workers on the job right now. And in Orlando, our station build-out has begun. So we are located inside this building, which has a very big name, the Intermodal Terminal Facility. But the goal here is to bring in train, plane, and automobile, as well as possibly commuter rail and bus in the future, to have this be a center location for modalities. When people need to get where they need to go, they go to the airport, but they may not necessarily fly out in an airplane. They may hop on a train or use a different service as well. Okay, so within this airport, we passed a milestone a couple weeks ago. We completed one of our 4 zones. You here in Brevard County are part of Zone 4, which goes from West Palm to Cocoa. And then we go, Zone 3 takes you to the airport. Zone 2 actually goes through the airport. So if you want to see the improvements that we made and what it took to actually build a double rail corridor through one of the busiest airports in the country, take a look. The completion of Zone 2 is a tremendous show of progress. for our work here at the airport.
It is not the largest of our zones, but it's certainly among the most complex construction anywhere in the corridor, and so we're thrilled to have it done. It's a 3.5 mile segment, and beginning at the south end, we go right through our station. As we proceed north, we cross under active roadways, the Jeff Fuquay Boulevard. They'll be passing under planes, traveling above them, over tug roads where luggage is being delivered to the main terminal, and under people movers, and then under another taxiway. So very active airport scene.
As people who are traveling here to the airport, they're going to see a lot of the improvements that we've done as well. At Cargo Road, we have installed the first roundabout here on airport property. Another interesting fact, the steel used throughout our corridor and throughout all of Zone 2 is 100% recycled steel that comes from Fort Wayne, Indiana.
The way that we have paid for our easement that we have on the GOA property is to make improvements to enable future corridor for either light rail or BRT.
Every day we're making progress on this Orlando extension. Completion of Zone 2 is critical as we move forward to bring passenger rail to Central Florida. Okay, so in terms of the ongoing work in Brevard County, these are a couple photos of some of the highlights. They're actually a little dated. We've accomplished a lot in just the last 4 weeks. So in the top left is the bridge over the St. Johns River Bridge. In the middle there is the arch structure that was built east of 95, south of 528. That will actually take the train from one side of 528 to the other. There are no grade crossings between Cocoa and Orlando International, so that's where we will hit top speeds of 125 miles an hour. That will be right over by the St. Johns River area.
There are no what crossings?
No grade crossings, no railroad crossings.
Okay.
So obviously through here we do have 155 between Cocoa and West Palm. But from Cocoa to the airport, we built a brand new alignment and there are no crossings. Everywhere there's a bridge, we built a bridge. Everywhere we couldn't build a bridge, we built an underpass. And so there are no crossings along the way. In the bottom left corner is the underpass at 528 in US 1 in Cocoa. In the middle there on the bottom is the 95 bridge, one of the largest bridges on the project. And then in the top right corner is one of the grade crossings that we have here in our Zone 4. So to speak to the benefit of Brightline and going beyond the conversation about a station, the improvements that we're making at these railroad crossings by adding a second track, we are updating these crossings. And keep in mind that we have not had passenger rail coming through since what, the 60s? But these tracks are, freight has been here for what, well over 100 years. So as we come into these crossings, we are adding safety upgrades along the way. So we're changing the profiles. In some cases where, you go over a railroad crossing, your car might bottom out. We have smoothed out all of those profiles. We've added new striping for vehicles to be able to see where they stop. We're adding in safety mechanisms for what we call sealed corridors. And so specifically here in the Palm Bay area, you have 3 crossings. You have Hesse, you have Palm Bay Road, and you have Port Malabar. And those 3 all have what we call exit gates that have been installed. So what that means is that when someone is approaching a crossing and they want to go around that gate, they can't. We also like to call them quad gates. They come down together and they touch, so you cannot drive around those gates. So it deters vehicles and pedestrians and bicyclists for that matter from going around the gates. So those improvements have been made. In addition to vehicle presence detection, we've added in positive train control, which is a safety mechanism that is now being used in South Florida to, again, provide different layers of safety in terms of keeping vehicles off the road, but also ensuring that we're operating safely throughout the corridor. So this is, I believe, yes, some of the video that we, just showing you some before and after photos. If you are construction background or engineering, you will appreciate this. These are some of the underpasses that we built using some innovative technology that actually allowed us to do the work in a very short period of time, having less impact to the driving public. And then those are some of the bridges. This is one of the bridges that I mentioned, along with the 417 bridge that we're building throughout the corridor. the arch structure that I was talking about. If you headed east on 528, you likely saw this being built. It was built right on site, and then it disappeared because we've moved the traffic over it now. I believe we already have eastbound over, and westbound will be moved over shortly if it hasn't already. This was another location of a box jack where we were able to do this work over 21 days with little impact to 528. We actually moved those boxes into place, jacking them into place under live traffic. So that's something else when we talk about as a private company, the innovation that we've been able to incorporate. Our contractors brought us ideas such as the box jacking, in which we actually build the boxes right off site with no impact to the traveling public, and then we jacked them into place when we were ready. And so we were the third and the fifth application of this technology in North America. And so we talk about, well, what is Brightline doing for me? Well, we're bringing these innovative ideas and we're practicing them. We've carried them out with great success, which is going to open the door for additional opportunities for construction projects and transportation options. So here in what we call our Zone 4, this is our 129 miles of double track, 19 bridges, 2 structural underpasses, and as you may have seen a Brightline train go by. We do go by once a day, a round trip. We go from West Palm up to just north of Cocoa, at which point our crew gets in the other locomotive and they go back south. This is just to train our crews. I don't mean just to train our crews, but there are no passengers on board. These are qualifying runs for our crews to get familiar with the territory. We have about 30 crew members, so I believe we're training 3 of them right now, and then they will continue to train. So this will be going on all year. These are not really test trains. We're not testing, we're actually training our crew members on the territory, the crossings, the bridges, and just what to expect as they're driving the train. And this will give you kind of a bird's eye view of this. This began in January. All the way into Brevard County. This is the first time that Brightline trains have traveled north of West Palm Beach along the corridor. The trains will travel at top speeds of 60 miles per hour, and there will be no passengers on board.
The professionals that will be the conductors and the engineers on board the trains must learn the territory in detail. Having crews qualified will enable us to use our Brightline trains to undertake the calibration runs that we need to time the grade crossing gates and a variety of other activities that are necessary to calibrate our train control equipment.
We can't hammer it home enough. It's going to take the Brightline train just a couple of seconds to get through the crossing. Be patient, stay off the tracks, don't drive around the gates, and always stay off the right-of-way.
It's phenomenal for all of us that have been working on this project for so long, because this is really what we're working for, and to see these trains begin to arrive is just so exciting.
This is part of history, seeing Brightline travel into Brevard County as we connect South Florida to Central Florida with passenger rail. And these are some of the safety enhancements that I was talking about with regards to the new gate mechanisms, the new flashers, the new signals, the sealed corridor, and then quiet zone compatible. So we are preparing these crossings so that if communities want to apply for quiet zones, that is something that they can do directly to the FRA. So the safety mechanisms will be in place for that. But that is up to the communities to do those applications. And we've actually been in conversation with the Space Coast TPO, and I know that's something that they are working on in terms of looking at the future of quiet zones through various communities. And this is our, just to give you a sense of, again, the progress and where we're at this point. This is our first train that arrived in Orlando just a couple of weeks ago to our vehicle maintenance facility. Our trains are all named for their color, just like Disney monorails are. You can see how close we are to the airport there.
Myself and my project team, as well as the construction team I've had to get to this point, really was a dream realized.
Definitely a proud moment to have trains on site and knowing where we started. The project team, we've all worked very hard and coordinating all the work and all the little nitty-gritty details.
Train travel is definitely the way we're going, and so to have something so new and innovative and fun and exciting, this project definitely has put itself out there more than anything anything else?
It spurs us on through that last 30% of the construction that we have to complete. This is definitely game-changing for all of the residents of Central Florida to have this new modality option in our state.
And that building right there is our vehicle maintenance facility. It's a $100 million state-of-the-art train facility. It's 2 football fields long. Once we have Orlando operational, we'll have 10 train sets. They do call them train sets. I know it makes me think of like Thomas the Train, but that's what they call them. Of those, 7 will go back to the vehicle maintenance facility in Orlando every night for service. We have a train wash, an automated train wash that we'll pull through. We have a fuel farm there, and we will have 175 highly skilled workers that we'll be hiring to work there. It will be a 24/7 operation, and one of the most advanced train facility, maintenance facilities, if not the most advanced in the entire country. So, there we go. Encourage you to follow me on LinkedIn. If you want to get a sense for how does it work to book a seat on Brightline, you can download our app and just try it out. Don't have to go all the way through and booking a trip, but just to see how it works. So please, I encourage you to follow us. I do update Twitter with various construction updates, as well as I have an email distribution list. So if you want to be added to that, you're welcome to just shoot me an email. And follow me on LinkedIn, as I often post a lot of things that are happening here in Brevard County as I'm out in the field. So with that, I'll open it to questions.
Let me get, we're going to run, as you can tell by now, slightly past time. If everybody is okay with that, then we can open it up for a few questions. Otherwise, Katie, are you able to stick for a bit too? So it's up to the room. Is it okay if we take a few questions and know that you're going to be slightly late after one?
Good.
Okay. Well then.
Okay. Go ahead.
With the big push from the government to go green, why did you go diesel as opposed to electric?
So we already had biodiesel in operation in South Florida, so I know that was part of the plan to keep it the same system, part of the same system, but it is definitely more environmentally friendly in terms of the process, and maybe there's someone else in this room who can explain biodiesel better than I can, but it is a much more environmentally friendly type of fuel and process in which the locomotives go ahead and operate. There was, I'm sorry, a question behind you there too.
Yes, I know that for every location that you open up or is a stop, there has to be some criteria that you're looking for. What is the criteria that Brevard County has to meet so that they would actually consider opening up a spot here in Brevard?
Sure. The question was, what is the criteria for opening a station? So I would say, the underlying similarities between our stations that are going to be opened in Aventura and Boca Raton is the community partnerships to bring it to fruition. And that includes obviously sharing in the cost of what that station is going to cost. Stations run somewhere between $50 and $100 million. It's not just the construction of the building, it's the construction of the infrastructure around it and preparing that area for a station. Obviously, we can't block the tracks to stop at the station. We have to integrate that into the existing system. And so I would say partnership is probably the biggest criteria, having communities that just not only want us, but various aspects of that community that want to be part of that process, and it truly is a process. And we've already begun conversations in Brevard County, and we know that we have those partnerships in place. So